it up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophy up. Do your dance when the G's up. G. Spaced out, got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west, can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up, since 96. Been number one in LA, something slight, that's the gist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talkin Galaxy. Today, I am joined by Dylan from COC Network. How are you doing, man?
I am good. Our team is bad. That's been the feeling so far through this weekend into this recording here. I'm a little depressed mentally from football, but other than that, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Came back from spring break from college. It's week 2 right now. We're on the quarter system. So it's the final quarter of the 3. I'm pretty excited for the summer upcoming with the World Cup and everything. So,
fair.
Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? Let's start on a non-Galaxy note.
That's a really good question. I think the favorite is France. I just think they have so much talent and it just really comes down to whether or not that comes together, right? You've got so much attacking firepower. Can you just be good enough defensively and through the midfield to let that happen? If not them, then I feel like Spain just has been the dominant team in Europe since Yamal has come through. And saying that the best player in the world isn't going to be probably the best player in the world on this given tournament, like those are the 2 favorites for me. I think everyone else is just second best.
Yeah, I'm with you, honestly. I think there's like 3 teams, in my opinion, who are contenders. It would be Spain, France, and England.
Okay, so you still have England in there.
I still have England, and I would not like it because I think their fans are obnoxious.
They are obnoxious.
I do think that Tuchel makes some really interesting,
I agree,
decisions to not bring Trent whatsoever, to bench Jude for Morgan Rogers probably in the World Cup. I mean, the back line isn't that convincing to me. But the midfield's stacked. The front line's pretty good. I would pick France though. If I had to pick one team, you just can't bet against World Cup Mbappe.
No, you really
talent
can't.
that they have is just, you got Mbappe, Dembele, Barcola, Ekitike, Cherki. Yeah, that team's just stacked. You got Chouameni, Camavinga. The list of world-class players just goes on and on. So I would lean towards France. I mean, I think you could say similar criticisms to them on the back line. Maybe what would be like Upamecano, Konate have not looked very convincing as of recent.
They really he hasn't played that much because he's been injured every international break. But Saliba is in that mix too. They've got good center backs, but they're still trotting out Teo Hernandez at left back. That might be a weak spot, but they're so good going forward that it might not matter. They're one of those teams where they could probably put 4 past you without thinking very much.
It feels better than roster wise. It feels better than the 2022 team that made the World Cup final. Yeah, so we'll have to see. What's your guys' favorite country's hype song? I mean, France has just done it right over the years, so I'd have to go with them. But Dylan, you have a different one?
Yeah, the Alle La Blues songs is the best. I will say it's my biggest gripes, and I've been almost thinking about making a TikTok video. It's not my style of content, so I haven't done it. But the AI generated videos, that is the one that the AI generated music is it grinds my gears so much. I hate it. I think it's such a disservice to the way that we see that one song. And I'm a United fan, and there's one that's been going about with United, and I'm like, this is garbage.
Yeah.
It's if you've ever been to Manchester and then you hear the AI generated song, it doesn't even make sense. It's like this almost like Portuguese, Spanish, call in song with the players, but they're blokes, straight blue collar workers from Manchester. It just doesn't it's my one little thing where I'm like, I don't like this at all.
And not to mention the whole World Cup theme song with Jelly Roll.
Oh my gosh, garbage, dude.
It's so bad.
Look, I get we're American, and trust me, I being patriotic, sure, at your World Cup makes sense. Don't blast it in everyone's face. Nobody else wants to be that patriotic. At least all the other ones got like Shakira or something. Like, give me someone like that can make us look good at least.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We went from
Oh,
Shakira to Jelly Roll. Yeah, it annoys me, but we'll move on from the World Cup talk.
sorry for me.
I guess we are a Galaxy podcast, huh? The LA Galaxy are a soccer team that plays in Los Angeles. And man, we're in a rough run of form right now. And you know, a little hint, I don't think it's going to get much better anytime soon. You know, barring maybe a change in management that we will talk about later. But first, we'll talk about you know, the Minnesota game. I think is the rightful place to start.
Yeah.
We'll move into some other transition topics, but the Minnesota game, man. Galaxy, obviously, you know, if you're a Galaxy fan, you know we fell 2-1 to Minnesota United at home. It's our second consecutive home loss. Coming off of the last one was against RSL, I want to say. No, it wasn't RSL.
No.
Who
We
was the last team we lost to at home?
Wow.
Kansas City, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, another very bad team.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, 2 back-to-back home losses to teams that honestly, you look at Kansas City's roster, this is probably the worst lineup on paper that they've put out ever. Minnesota have not been the same since Eric Ramsey left the post. So these are games at home you're expecting to get 3 points from at the end of the season. This might not seem like a big deal to some now. But we saw it last year. We dig ourselves in too deep of a hole, and by the time you try to climb out of it, you know, I think you said this on one of the YouTube shorts. It's like every time you see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's just an oncoming train.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what it feels like to be a Galaxy fan right now. It was Landon Donovan night. They gave out bobbleheads to, I think, the first 5,000 people in the stadium, which filled the, you know, I got to give credit. The promotional night, it put butts in seats because I don't think this team is right now. So, you know, we could start on that note. Not that it is the Landon Donovan bobblehead going for $1,000 on eBay right now. So the resale market is just so grimy. I despise people like this, honestly. It's like, bro, nobody's paying $1,000 for a Landon Donovan bobblehead that will probably be worth like $30, $25 in like a couple weeks, maybe. Like, we need to stop with this. And if you are buying this, you're a schmuck, because, you know, you could literally just get this in a few weeks for, you know, a crisp $20 bill probably. So if you're really looking to get your hands on this, just wait. I'm sure other content creators like Galaxy Runs LA and whatnot will be probably doing giveaways of stuff like this soon. But yeah, first 5,000 in the stadium, man, people waited outside since like probably 2.5, 3 hours before kickoff to get their hands on this Landon Donovan bobblehead. I personally did not get one because, you know, I love Landon Donovan, but I'm not waiting 3 hours in a line for a bobblehead. Respectfully, I'll pass. I have my Marco Royce bobblehead right here. You know, that will do for me. And I got my Cosmo one as well. So I'm good on bobbleheads. They're cool keepsake for like a desk, but you know, Landon Donovan, it put butts in seats, man. So it was nice to see the attendance was back for this game. They did, you know, a good tribute to Landon Donovan. I know they had an event about his book. Were you at that event?
No. I am not a season ticket member. I unfortunately live too far away to be able to go to games that frequently and spend the money to do so. Yeah. And also, I probably wouldn't pay the LA Galaxy any money. I think Milo was making this point recently, but he was like, you know, with the way that they're currently playing, like I'm not gonna pay him money to watch the product they're putting out. That nobody really should. And honestly, that might make a statement more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it in previous years. It feels like the only thing that sometimes the FO responds to is, you know, as most organizations do, is, you know, these people who run the club from the top aren't necessarily paying as close attention to the results as they are their pockets. I'm sure it's a business at the end of the day. And you know, what hurts them is their pockets. So I don't know. The attendance was on the decline. It came back up for this game. We'll see how it goes over the rest of the season. But Promotional nights are always something that I feel like the Galaxy's gotten right. I know there was some things with like the 2024 ring thing ended up being like a whole mess with the security and whatnot, but the whole concept was fine. Like I like the concepts. They have concepts of a giveaway night.
Yeah, their marketing team does all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
When it comes to giveaway nights and whatnot, I got to give them credit. They do good on that. But the Landon Donovan bobblehead here brought a lot of people to the stadium. It was nice to see that again. Supporter sections were pretty filled up. I believe the attendance was like what? Do you have a number on that? I want to say
think it was it not 22-ish?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think I saw Eli posted it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so close to capacity. Pretty good for a team that hasn't been relatively good since 2024. So, we could still put butts in seats. We have that capability still. But yeah, a lot of people went to this game, and the product on the field probably won't have a lot of people coming back. I would assume. JT started in net. We could talk about that, but I'm presuming he's just the starter now. I don't really care.
That does not move the needle any which way, shape, or form. Like we concede goals pretty easily, whether he's in net or he's not. It doesn't matter who's in net. We're not very good.
Has no difference. Cuevas right back, Justin Hack center back alongside Emiro Garces. That didn't really work out, but it was the thought. You had Julian Ade at left back, Marco Royce in the midfield alongside Elijah Winder, Lucas Sanabria, and Edwin Cerrillo. Looked like Winder on paper was slotted into that left wing role, which was weird.
Yeah, it's not how it ended up playing.
Didn't really play out like that. Yeah, Klaus up top and Peck out right. What was your initial thoughts on this lineup?
I was really intrigued. I had brought up on our pod a couple of times that I wanted to see this with Paintsel out because I honestly just don't rate Tommy very high. I don't think that he does a whole lot, and I thought that going a little more narrow and doing something a little different tactically could have been super unique. What I found out very quickly is we just played the exact same formation, the exact same style, but we just chucked Sanabria at left wing and left midish. It was kind of this weird hybrid. And I will say that he actually did a great job in his role, which wasn't really defined well. I just don't understand where I really fall into this not understanding thing is the fullbacks are really my issue. You played Aude and Cuevas together, which are two players that in theory that makes sense, right? If you are tucking in Aude, but this game required Aude to get up the wing. And so Cuevas is just the polar opposite of the player that you need there because Cuevas was asked to tuck in. And that second goal is a great example of why that doesn't work. Because when he tucks in, he doesn't understand the right center back position, whereas like a Mickey Amane might. Or if you were asking Edwin Cerrillo to drop into that role, that makes sense. But and Greg Vanney, I think, alluded to it in the press conference, like he got it wrong. And I think for a team that has been searching for answers to continually put out the same exact thing and not have it work is super disappointing from one of the most tenured coaches in the history of the league. And I just don't know if I completely understood how it ended up playing out compared to what I thought it was going to be based off of the lineup that we saw on paper.
Yeah, no, I mean, you mentioned it. It just, my thing is, I feel like going back to the fullback conversation, I think you either have John Nelson and Mauricio Cuevas, or you have Miki Amane and Julian Ade. I don't think you could have both. I don't think you could have Cuevas and Ade on the field at the same time. It just doesn't work. And that game is perfect example. Those are both touchline fullbacks. They aren't able to be tucked in as another center back. It's not going to happen. Cuevas is not very good defensively. I mean, he's been a liability at times, and it showed in this game. The first goal, he definitely takes partial blame for. It's just, for me, it's like, I almost don't blame him to an extent where it's like, man, we're not putting him in his best spot, though. You put him up and down that touch line, and I think offensively, he helps so much more than just having to tuck in as almost another center back. I mean, it's not his role, in my opinion. And then the goalkeeper thing, it's just like, for me, there has to be some continuity at this point. If you stick with JT, just stick with him for the rest of the season. I don't want to see a scenario where it's back and forth between JT and Novak Mitrovic. Let's be honest. this back line doesn't need any more turnover in personnel. It doesn't. It's shaky enough as it is. And I don't think JT or Novak are the long-term answers. So just plug one in and you're going to just have to deal with it for the rest of the season. I think Novak at this point probably goes in the summer. I mean, you could open up an international spot that's worth around $500K right now. Whatever you get in transfer fee, maybe you trade him off to another MLS team that sees starter potential in him. And you could recoup around like what, maybe $700K if you're including the international spot, maybe 800, 900-ish. At this point, if Novak's not your guy, how long have we been wondering if he was going to be the next man up? And if he's not at this point, then it's just time. If you truly think that JT just can take the reins for the rest of the year, I mean, we're paying him like a starter, so just roll with it. But neither of them are that good, so I don't really care. If Greg Vanney wants to paint it as a whole goalkeeper controversy, I'm not interested, because quite frankly, they're both mid. And we'll see against Toluca. Honestly, I feel like any goalkeeper against Toluca is going to have a difficult time. The amount of long shots that they take. For as many people that bash Novak Mitrovic and say that JT is clearly better, we're about to see it. I'm not wishing ill on him. We're going to see. Time will tell if Novak Mitrovic will get called back up. Who knows? But JT is going to face a lot of long shots. You saw it in the Campeones Cup final. Toluca's not scared to shoot. They'll pepper that goal for 90 minutes, especially in Mexico. So it'll be a true test. And my only thing, and the last thing I'll say on the goalkeeper spot, you could touch on this as well. The same people who have been attacking Novak Mitrovic and saying that Novak Mitrovic is a terrible goalkeeper, that every goal that gets scored past the Galaxy is his fault, just keep the same energy. If JT is the starting goalkeeper, I just expect that same energy either just stays, or we have to reach a point where, like, okay, maybe there's more to the issue than a goalkeeper, which is the real picture. Is that this back line's not been good. I could look at Emilio Garces. This guy hasn't been good since 2024. We gave him some grace last year. He cost us a lot of individual games just on his own. Both of the San Diego games, honestly, but especially that second San Diego game just completely ruined our chance at getting a point there. And it's just momentum killers. Emilio Garces on the second goal gets torched along the byline, and it's just not a situation that you want to see your center back in. Justin Hack has been unimpressive. The thing is, one of these center backs is just going to have to step up and pair alongside Galesnes when he comes back. I think it's an open spot. I think Galesnes penned in starter every single game, rest of the year, as long as he's available, barring rotational minutes. The important match is Galesnes is penned in. Emilio Garces and Justin Hack, that spot's up for grabs. Somebody just has to be better. They're both not doing good right now, but I'll let you touch on the goalkeeper spot and maybe Emilio Garces.
Yeah, the goalkeeper spot is just one of those positions at this point where I just don't think that the quality is good enough. And I'm a very big component of, like, your goalkeeper doesn't win you games, but he can absolutely lose you games. And I honestly think that both of the keepers do that to a certain extent. And I think their numbers both back that up. Like, they both don't really do anything to save you a point. Like, Callender made a couple saves where maybe if it was on our net, I would assume that it went in the back of the net. And going through that as a United fan, it was very similar with Onana for a long time, where you just don't feel this air of, like, confidence. And I think the back line also has that to a certain extent. And to your point about, like, the chop and change, like, nobody does this in any league, like, not even in this league.
Yeah.
Like, they have a bona fide starter in every single league, and neither of these guys are just starting caliber keepers. And at this point, you got to move off of Mikovic because he's an international spot, and we're desperate for him. Even if we don't make any moves in the summer, we still have to get more roster spots or international spots. So I would let them, honestly, I'd let him go. And to your point, I'd let JT play. The center back position, I mean, if I had told you that outside of Glesnes coming into this season, and Mila, our other podmates, has been pretty high on this, but if I had told you that Mayo Yoshida was our second best center back, would you have been like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Right.
You bring in Hack, Galesnes has been the best, but Hack and Garces, I expected both of them to just clear my Yoshida. I don't even think Yoshida's been particularly good
But he's
either.
that says a lot, right? Like the
Yeah.
idea that he hasn't necessarily been like that great, but he's definitely been better than Garces or Hack.
Yeah.
The issue that, and I have grace for Hack, is because he's just not played in, I think, his natural position. When I scouted him in the summer, it was, oh, he's going to play left center back for us, and he's going to be our ball progressor from that spot. Like they call it the John Stones role in modern football, where you step into the midfield, you allow him to do a little bit more. That's exactly what it did at New York City. This season, we've seen him play right center back a majority of the time, or the 6. And those are just that's not asking him to do the things that he's good at. And especially when it comes to playing the ball across his body, that's something that I pinned pretty clearly, is like, that's something he's really good at, is when he picks up the ball off the left-hand side and he pins it to who should be Gabriel Peck. And this is honestly, it just builds to the Vanney kind of concept to me, that he doesn't either understand our personnel, or he's not actively putting them in good spots anymore for the sake of just his ideology. And that strikes me as a pretty big concern, because there's no reason that if you had gone back to the summer, that was one of the best signings that any team had made, was Justin Hack. He was the best available free agent defender in the market, and we got him for a cut rate deal for this season. And here we are, where everyone's like, I don't know if he's actually that good. Like, I'm going to tell you, I think that he's a good footballer, and I think he's got real talent, but I just don't think that we know how to utilize him at all. And I think that's a Greg Vanney thing.
Yeah. Do you have a particular opinion on if Rindov should be getting more of a shot in the team?
He's been hurt, so I can't really say yes or no. I think that any player in that position should have a chance there. But honestly, Rindov came in during a period where we were one of the worst defenses ever, and he was just slightly better. And we were still bad with him in defense. So I can't say a whole lot about him. At this point, I'm kind of just in the fuck it mold, where Rindov, maybe he just, you plop him in, he does a great job, and then you're like, wow, like, we got this bargain center back here that we can maybe start to do some things in a 3-back or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. Rindov, I can't have an opinion because there's nothing to really go off of yet. Are you in the same boat?
Yeah, if he's not healthy. If he's not healthy, don't rush him back. Just don't touch it. But if he is, then honestly, any one of these center backs can take that starting position. I don't care. Like, it's just, we've gotten to the point that after, we're looking at like almost a year and a half now of not being a good, consistent team. There's no pendant starters, really. I mean, there's very few, like Galesna, sure.
It's Glesnes and Klaus. But those are the only two guys that I can pencil in and be like, if I had the options, they're starting regardless.
Like, if you take away roster designation, like if you don't have to start your DPs, like if DPs aren't even a thing and it's just play your best XI, then Peck's not a guaranteed starter. Paintsil's not a guaranteed starter. Klaus, yes. But none of them have been like, we can't take these guys off the field. It's just like,
no,
it is what it is for me. Like, if you want to bench Garces for Rindov, if you want to bench Hack for Rindov, I don't care. At this point, if freaking Asenge comes back from loan or whatever and ends up being, our starting center back, like, just, I don't care. Like, it's fine. Whoever deserves that position. But if we're thinking logically, then no. Obviously, I don't think Rindov, will end up taking that spot, because you're paying guys like, Justin Hack $800K. You're going to sign him long term. It's just not something that's going to end up happening. So Hack or Garces are realistically the guys who are going to have to pair alongside Jakub Galesnes. But maybe we see Maya Yoshida back in the fold, but he's not particularly convincing to me either. I don't get excited when he's in the lineup. So, Dylan, do you think we're desperate enough to try Cerrillo at center back?
No,
I don't agree that he's been trash at CDM, but
no. He doesn't have the physical stature to play that role. We would get run over. I wouldn't even entertain the idea. Like, he's done it in the past out of pure necessity. You don't have that pure necessity anymore. I'd much rather give Rindov the chance. To my point here, Edwin Cerrillo has proven that he can be a very good 6 if you ask him to do a very structured job. And right now we're asking him to do way too much, right? Picking the ball off of the center back and then asking him to play out of the back. That's not his strength. It's never been his strength. So why do we continue to do it? Well, because Greg Vanney wants to play his possession style football instead of doing what we should be doing, which is playing counterattacking football. But
we're so good on the counter, man.
Well, apparently the only person or the people that see that is us and the fans. Yeah. But Greg Vanney, who sees his team week in, week out, and has all the footage in the world, can't see it. And it
We've been a good counterattacking team since 2025. Like that's been one of the few things that I could say last season that honestly stood out, was the fact that I felt like our best football came when we were absorbing pressure and we just hit them on the counter, like that LAFC away El Tráfico. We weren't dominating possession, we weren't on the front foot, we weren't playing Vanney ball per se. We do better in those derbies because we're usually on the back foot. We're usually having to absorb pressure, and sure, sometimes we'll give up goals, but we're also going to score a lot because we have guys like Joseph Paintsil and Gabriel Peck who are most confident when they're turning against a back line that's disoriented, not one that's organized. I think
it's very, very, like, the thing that always reassures my ideas when it comes to this, especially in this league, is watching the way that other teams play and a lot of the good teams. And there are not many good possession-based teams within this league. I just don't think that the roster construction allows for that. No. And looking literally across the street, the team that's up currently 3-0, when have they ever been a possession-based team? And this is a team that has Son, Bawanga, or like, the talent is off the charts, but they don't ever hold the ball because that's just not they have figured out, and they've known this for a long time, that they're just not a productive on-the-ball team. They sit low, and they beat you with their biggest strength, which is counterattacking football. And to our point, we're built relatively similar in that sense, like Gabriel Peck, Joseph Paintsil, even Klaus, all are productive counterattacking footballers. We just want them to be something that they're not. And that's honestly, if there's one thing that I'll like reel myself back on in the Peck stuff, is it's that. Like, you can't ask somebody to be something they're not if they've shown you they're not that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this match in particular, we'll go into it. Marco Reus scores in the 57th minute after Markanic scores in the 51st minute. So we equalize 1-1. And at this point, you're like, okay, this is a good response to the goal. Maybe we'll push on, try to find, the game winner. And the 67th minute, Kelvin Yeboah scores. We talked about the fact that the first goal, Mauricio Cuevas was really getting torched, and on the second goal it was Miro Garces. Not that only one person can be blamed for either one, but the reality is that the Galaxy drop points again at home. We don't even get a point against a team in Minnesota that are not. This is not a good Minnesota team. They're without James Rodriguez, who on paper should be their best player. Kelvin Yeboah is up there as well. And we drop points, and the Galaxy in this game, I mean, I feel like we only play with a sense of urgency the last 10 minutes, including stoppage time. That's when we start to actually pick it up. And, that naturally happens in games. Obviously, the teams will sit back when they're on a goal, especially if they're away from home. And you can point to non-capitalized chances from the Galaxy, but ultimately Minnesota executed this game plan perfectly. They absorbed pressure, and they just, they counterattacked, and that's how you beat the LA Galaxy. I mean, for what could have been our biggest strength is also our biggest weakness in counterattacks. And we fall 2-1 there. What did you see from this match?
What did I see from this match? I thought that eventually we figured out, especially going into that Royce goal. I was like, wow, like finally they connected, they made it work. And then Greg Vanney went, let's switch it up. Let's switch up the structure in the 60th minute of a game where I just built momentum. And the idea that the game went straight into a 2-1 lead for Minnesota three minutes later, it kind of just tells me all I need to know about the match. Regardless of how I think we played or how our players played, we just continue to shoot ourselves in the foot, whether that's Greg Vanney, or it's the players itself. Like it's a big giant FU to the fans and everyone involved. And I think that there was a bunch of stuff with the supporter section after the game, and even like Ricky Pooge getting into it with the fans a little bit. Like, look, I get it. You guys are frustrated, but also you guys are getting paid money to be frustrated. We're paying you money to be frustrated. And I don't think that you can have that level of disconnection. And that's honestly, if I had one word to describe this season, whether it's been the team with its own players, or Greg Vanney with its system, and the players and the organization with its own fans, there's just a giant rift and a disconnection that has been building over time, that was papered over by a very good season.
Yeah.
And now we're back to square one of what's been very long stretch of very bad football from this club. And this game is a good summary of it. And it's hard to see there being a point where this kicks back into gear. If we want to talk about this game in particular, Marco Royce was good again. And that's the only thing that I continue to take away from these matches, is like Marco Royce plays well, but like nobody else is really playing well with him.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about it on the podcast before, and this keeps repeating over and over and over again. This doesn't feel much different than 2025, which is, I think, everybody's worst nightmare. After 2025, I think there was a lot of hope and optimism that it wouldn't be this way again, that, hey, we could write this off. It's a fluke season. Ricky was injured. And sure, Ricky gets injured again. You have 3 DPs. You have 3 DPs. There's no excuses. Obviously, Klaus isn't the same caliber DP as Ricky Pooge. However, you can't say that, hey, we were waiting on this guy, he didn't end up coming back. You filled that roster spot. You decided who you were going to go out and get. You decided when you were going to go out and get them. And Klaus, in particular, has been one of our best players. So we can't even say that, it's not like Klaus is failing to produce. He's probably been a top 3 player on this Galaxy squad this year.
Yeah. Fit like a glove.
Yeah, he's been incredible. He should come back next year. He's one of the people that I'd be like, yeah, he should definitely be back next year. Mm-hmm. This team hasn't separated itself from 2025. This organization hasn't separated itself from 2025. And it just feels like it's all boiling up game by game by game, and losing home matches. And you look at this April stretch, we may not win a game in April. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be negative unnecessarily. I'm going to be honest, is the fact that the RSL game is probably the only chance that we win in April. And RSL are in good form. They happen to be in good form as well. Toluca, I'm going to be honest, we could write that off right now. I don't know if we'll get mopped, but we're not beating Toluca over 180 minutes. It's not happening. CONCACAF out the question. Next 2 games in MLS are away games in Texas. We don't win in Texas, and we haven't won an away game since 2024. Austin, early kickoff time, you could write that off. This Saturday after CONCACAF, short week, 3rd game in a week. The games play out how they do, but I'm going to be honest that going on the road to Austin is not an easy task, and we rarely ever win there. The next one would be Dallas away. Dallas are also in good form. They have Peter Musa, who is dismantling attacks right now. And I think they came off a win against San Diego FC, or at least a draw, I believe, at home. Going up to Texas once again, just back-to-back Texas games, not a thing that we usually win in. Next, Columbus Crew away. We haven't won since 2011 in Columbus, and you could say whatever you want on how they're doing this season. I don't think we win that game in Columbus. They're still the Columbus Crew at the end of the day, and they have talent on that roster, and the Galaxy really are struggling right now. And once again, that's going to be another game in quick succession. And then you finally come home to RSL, which I feel like is our chance to win this April, just because the fact that we have a good track record against RSL in recent years at home. And I feel like we could do the business there, but there is no guarantee. They're in good form. And then you'd be looking, if you don't win that game, let's say you get a draw, you go into May having 1 win on the season. And now this is all hypothetical, but this is also realistic. Is the fact that you might be looking at a stretch. And then in May, you get gifted to Vancouver. with the team that made MLS Cup last year.
Yeah, who've been
And
really
then
good.
you go away to Atlanta. We've never won in Atlanta, I don't think. I don't think we've ever won.
I can't remember. Oh, yeah, I can't remember.
Away at Kansas City, such a tough place to play, despite the fact that their roster's not good. Kansas City, maybe we could get a draw from that match, but once again, we haven't won on the road since 2024. Seattle Sounders away, that's just not a game we're winning. And then the final game before the World Cup break is home at Houston Dynamo. I cannot tell you right now that we get more than 2 wins there. I honestly, I can't. I think our best chances there are probably RSL and Houston, and I think those are far from guaranteed. It's not a talent issue. And once again, we're looking at the second year where we're not in a talent issue. So what is the issue? I think that it's gotten to the point where we could acknowledge that Greg Vanney is a very good head coach. This guy's been to 3 MLS Cups. He's maybe even 4. I think he went to 3 with Toronto, won 1 with them, and then went 1 to 2-time MLS Cup winner, went to 4 MLS Cups. Anybody who wants to say that 2024 was just Ricky Puig is lying to themselves. It's revisionism. He was absolutely putting in the work in 2024. That team was built from the ground from Will Kuntz and Greg Vanney. And of course, Ricky had a huge factor in that, but we can't discredit Greg Vanney having a major role in that. Stop the revisionism. I've seen it. It's nonsense.
It's lazy.
However, I think it's gotten to the point where coaches in MLS don't last long. It is what it is. You're not going to get a Brian Schmetzer where the guy's or Peter Vermees where they're going to be at the club for a decade, and maybe you don't need that. However, I feel like we've gotten to the point where the tactics have gotten stale. The personnel doesn't match how we're playing anymore. And it just feels like we haven't adapted. And we haven't adapted since 2024. Ricky Puig has been out. And sometimes you need a fresh start for things to get into gear again. And it might be that time. I've talked about it on the previous podcast. I know you have your own feelings on this, but I think that my prediction, you could bookmark this right now. I do not think Greg Vanney will be coaching after the World Cup break. I don't know if he gets sacked this month, but I don't think he lasts after the World Cup. They're going to have a long time. They're going to have a month and a half to look at what's been going on this season and say, hey, is this team much better than 2025? And I think at that point, the answer is going to be no. I will say I don't think, because the fact that most of the season is backloaded this year, I don't think that the season is going to be over. I don't think the season will be over if they act in time. I think there is a way where you take that World Cup break, you appoint a guy. And I'm not going to get much further than this right now. We could go into that in a second here, but I think Wilfried Nancy, Jim Curtin, Oscar Pareja, are all such quality MLS proven coaches. I would obviously go for Wilfried Nancy because I think he could, like this, just make a team, good to great, give him an off season. And I think this could very much be his team. So, that could work with a 5-back system. Honestly, he's played that in Columbus, and it seemed like we were built personnel wise for it this year. It's not Greg Vanney's system. Maybe Nancy can make it work, but I want to hear your thoughts on Greg Vanney now. I saw the reel. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah, look, I think the revisionism is real too, and I'm even seeing it in the chat right now. Like, Greg Vanney is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach in this league. Like, if you're trying to say he isn't, you're discrediting actually one of the greatest coaches to ever play. There's only 7 managers to ever win the trophy twice. He's one of them. And there's only 1 manager to ever win a treble, and that's Greg Vanney. So to say that it was just his players, or that's just crappy and lazy, and I don't really like that. Yeah. Now, what I will say is his time with the Galaxy has been poor for the majority, minus the 1 year, and everything runs its course. That's life. And at some point, you have to adapt or die. And the Galaxy have been closer to dying than adapting over the last 2 seasons. And for me, I think he just feels like he's meeting the this point where it's just so stubborn in the way that he's thinking and the philosophies around this team that he essentially has too much power within this organization. Like, I know that he helped us during a really rough time. Like, I think people forget that. Like, he built up the squad, and then he built up the academy system. Like, his kids are two of our biggest prospects. Like, that stuff matters. And he has taken a lot of the blame while we had pretty shitty GMs. And so I have a lot of respect for Greg Vanney, and I think that his CV speaks for itself. Now, with that being said, I do think it's time to move on. And I'm going to go with the bold prediction of, I don't think he makes it past the second Toluca game. I think there's a real possibility that he doesn't make it past the first one. Wow. I think if the first one I think, because the idea is like, oh, well, you can't sack a manager if you're in a quarterfinals. Well, if we get pumped 4-0 in the first leg of a quarterfinal, we're not going to. That second leg isn't happening. You're not having a Ramadana. Like, we're not getting past. So in terms of rebuilding and reshaping this team, you can immediately start to look for new coaching. And I'd like to assume that Will Kuntz isn't just sitting there with his hands underneath his fucking ass and not having a list of guys that he's like, when we decide that we're going to make this decision, which they already might have, right? Like, the decision might have already been made. Here's who we're going for. And to your point, you had a list of a bunch of coaches right there that could work. I'd even make the argument that the Galaxy should look outside the league. I think Felipe Luis is a great idea. Like, I think if you can lure a manager who is currently not a coach or is like kind of at the back end of their career and maybe is looking for a new challenge in a new league and wants to live in Los Angeles, and you can pay him a lot of fucking money, then you should do it. And that's the one place that it's very similar to the Lakers to me, because I'm a huge Lakers fan, and the Lakers have been mom and pop for a long time. And I think AEG is pretty similar. You don't cheap out on the places that you don't have to. You don't have to cheap out on a coach. They currently aren't, to their credit. Yeah. They didn't cheap out on the GM, but like, everything should be state of the art, top of the line, pay whatever you need to make this team as good as possible right away. And I think that if that first game against Toluca is a smashing, tomorrow night is awful, we get run off the park, I just think that you send Greg Vanney to his house. And I just say, you go to Austin with the new manager bounce, and you hopefully pick up a result there, and you go to your next coach and you say, build what you can with this current roster. And when we get to the summer, we sit down and we go together on a plan on how we're going to get you the guys that you need to make this team successful. Because as currently constructed, whether it's Greg Vanney or the team itself, it's not good enough. And it's been 2 years of us knowing that, or close to it.
Yeah, the MLS Cup gave him a lot of leeway, as he deserves. I mean, this guy has pedigree. I agree. His time with the Galaxy has been not the best at times, to say the least. 2024, obviously, we won MLS Cup. 2022, you made a stride. You made the conference semifinals. 2023 made your setback. You can make excuses for each one of these seasons and be like, oh, 2021 is first season. There's a VAR decision that didn't go our way on decision day. We could have made it. 2022, 2023 was just all around a bad year, as a protest year. You can go through all of these excuses, but we're into 2026 and we are staring down the barrel of the shotgun right now of being 4 out of 6 years of missing the playoffs under Greg Vanney. And it's way early. I'm not saying we will miss the playoffs. I'm saying the fact that we aren't convincingly in a playoff position right now or playing even good football shows you all you need to know, that after 6 years, after 6 seasons with him at the helm, we are not significantly better than we were in 2025. It's time. It's time. And he's not a bad coach. I guarantee everybody in the chat, I can tell you this right now. You could act like Greg Vanney's a bad coach. If he gets fired within 2 months, he will have a job in MLS. In my opinion, whether it's like the Orlando City job, whatever it may be, at least by the end of this season, he will have another job in MLS, because people know that he is a good coach. Other teams see that. There's no better telltale sign that a guy's a good coach is the fact that he can get a job. He can get a job if he wants to. Maybe he doesn't have to. He's going to be paid a good amount by the Galaxy until the end of 2027. So, he's going to be sitting on good money. Maybe he wants to relax, spend some more time with the family. But if he seriously wants to get back into coaching, guarantee he could have a job so easily. But, you know, you look at alternatives. My fear is that there may not be this coaching market if you continue to wait on sacking Greg Vanney.
That's my thought.
Yeah, that was a big hesitation last year. Last year, we were like, I mean, you sack him. There was like a rumor that he was getting sacked after the Red Bulls loss. And you're like, I don't know, man. You sack him, and it's just like, who's going to replace him? I could tell you right now 3 options that would be good. I mean, heck, it wouldn't be my first option, but you could throw Robbie Keane in that mix if you want it. I think it'd be a little risky for the fact that, you know, he hasn't necessarily coached at an MLS level. I feel like we could swing bigger. We're a club that swings so big. You know, the fact that we even got Greg Vanney in the first place was a big swing after firing Gamero Barcelona. Let's not forget that. He was one of the top coaches on the market. And we managed to nab him. It was a hometown thing. You know, he comes back to the club that he played for. I'm sure that had a huge part in it. But we're a club that, like you said, when it comes to a thing like a head coach, okay, I'm not trying to make a comparison right now to Liverpool, but Arne Slot's also under a lot of pressure. Yep. And it's a thing where it's like, I don't know, it's going to cost a lot of money to, you know, sack Slot. You know, then you're going to have to pay his replacement. This is determining big stuff right here. This is determining the future of your club, right? The next few years of your club. Screw the bill. It's easy to say that as a fan, but its reality is that when it comes to something as critical as the manager of your team, the bill should not be even a thought. It shouldn't, because in Europe, it's a little different, because it's like, okay, so what? You stick with the bad coach and you end up losing $100 million because you missed the Champions League because you're riding with him, and that makes you look even stupider. But from an MLS perspective, you're losing ticket sales, you're losing merchandising sales, you're losing the foothold in LA, and you know, you're not putting butts in seats, you're losing supporter base. The longer that you decide to stick around with a guy that clearly his time is just up. It's not meant to be. So it's like, okay, I mean, just it's a type of thing where it's like, when it comes to head coaches, we're not a club that's shy when it comes to spending AG. This isn't something that counts against the general allocation money. Wilkins doesn't have to worry about that. Go ahead and spend the money and bring in a guy like Wilfred Nancy, who I think would be the best option. You know, like you said, give him the summer, reset. Give him 2 U22 spots. I'm okay with selling Julian Ade in the summer. I think he's a good left back, but worth the U22 spot, I'm iffy on that. If you decide that there's a more valuable position, I think you do it. And then Nascimento should have never been brought back.
No, the way that it's well, look, when they brought Klaus in, like, it became just redundant, and then he's gotten hurt. His time here's done. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Like, I think he's got talent, but it doesn't matter if he's not playing.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, Nascimento, he's injury prone, and we brought an injury prone striker back on a stipulation that he can't even start half of the matches if we even needed him to, if God forbid Klaus got injured. So you have that stipulation, or else you pay $6 million for a guy that's not worth half of that. And it's like, okay, you're looking at a situation now where it's like, move on from Nascimento. Let's just forget that ever happened. You know, move on from Julian Ade. He's a serviceable left back, but give the next coach ammo. You need to give him ammo. You know, you can offload a guy in the summer like Novak Mitrovic, open up probably 800, 900K in allocation money. The right back position, in my opinion, it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, if you want to sell Cuevas to Mexico or whatever and convert that money to general allocation money, go ahead, do that. If you want to buy out Yamane or something, there needs to be a decision one way or another on a right back. There is 2 right backs that there's a lot of general allocation money sitting on the table right now, and we're not doing anything with it. And it's like, okay, they're both starting caliber. If you really need to reload in the summer and you want to get a guy like, I don't think he's the fix, but if you want to get a guy like Casemiro or a high-end TAM player, you're going to need the money to do so. And you're going to have the World Cup break to reset, get these guys back into training. I mean, Paintsil's probably the only guy that will be on the World Cup squad. You know, take these guys to training, teach them a new system, but you have time. You have time to salvage this. It's not a lost cause. I think there needs to be urgency from the front office. And yeah, it'd be really interesting if he doesn't survive past tomorrow. But I think the World Cup break is where everything will change for the LA Galaxy this season. So yeah.
I think that you move whatever and whoever it takes to get it, whatever the new manager is, their pick of the litter. And we're a big club. We are going to attract the biggest free agents that want to come to Major League Soccer. Somebody said Bernardo Silva in the chat. Look, it's super unrealistic, but if he's willing to come and take a project, I would move literally whoever. Like, I would personally go to the digs. I'd pack up their shit and I would move them to wherever it takes. In my Honda, I would pay the astronomical price tags of gas right now to go ship them wherever they need to be.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll join you.
Well, okay, so I'm curious because I think I'm sitting at a certain place with Gabriel Peck, and I think you commented on my post about it. So I'm curious in your position with Gabriel Peck, where are you at with him as a player?
Honestly, I think for the first time I've reached a point with Gabriel Peck where it's like, okay, if you can break even on him and offload him to Europe, make him take that next step in his career, I think you do it. There's a 30% sell-on clause, so you'd probably need around 15 million, 14 million-ish.
Sounds right.
For Peck. So, I mean, I think there is a team maybe in the summer that would be willing to foot that. I think he certainly needs to pick it up a bit more before that summer, summer break, going into the transfer window. But if you could break even on Gabriel Peck, whether it be after this season, it doesn't have to be in the summer. If you could break even on him, I think you do it. And it's just a thing where it's like, look, he is a good player. But it's just his confidence doesn't look there. It could just be a thing where he's overstayed a little his time in MLS. I don't think he wanted to be in MLS that long. I think, if it was up to him, he would have probably bounced in the summer of 2025, but he just didn't have a good season personally. And it's continuing now where it's like, okay, you've reached a point where it's like, okay, you take the money for Gabriel Peck and you reset, you get a new designated player winger, and I'm okay with that. If you also keep him and think that, hey, maybe on a good squad with a new coach that he could turn this around, it's fine. A new coach is a complete reset. Anybody in that squad can take any position, and it completely rewires everyone's confidence. It can change a lot. So maybe you would see the best out of Gabriel Peck under a Wilfried Nancy type guy. A lot of people talk about Edwin Cerrillo, having to, you talked about it. He's playing, Vanney possession ball, and that's just not his strong suit. I think he would thrive under a guy like Wilfried Nancy. Look at what he did to Aiden Morris in Columbus. It's a very similar situation. So I think that, a new coach can change a lot. But for me, I'm also in that position with Peck. You could talk about your position, but I'm okay with it. Either way, I'm in between right now. But if you end up selling him and break even and reset, I'm okay with that.
I think I'm in the same boat. I don't have much to add there. I just was curious because I think that the fan base is split on Peck because we all know how talented he is. Yeah. And I think that the summer's going to come up and we're going to see the players that are linked to the league, and we're going to be sorry that we don't have that spot available.
Yeah.
And I don't think Will Kuntz is a smart guy. You think he's just sitting there man, Bernardo Silva is available. Sorry, we got Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsel. You don't think he's going to move somebody to make that happen? I feel like, look, the fact that we're already linked to Casemiro, makes me think that our ambitions in the summer, we don't have money. We don't have roster spots to work with. That means someone's moving. Yeah. If we're already linked with Casemiro, that means that if it's not Casemiro, somebody else is coming in. We're going to move pieces. If we aren't players, we're doing a disservice to this club, and we're doing a disservice to whatever 2027 could be with Ricky Puig. And they have made this very clear that Ricky Puig is supposed to come back in, and we are going to build the best squad around Ricky Puig. So if that's the case, then you have to make that happen in the summer because you don't get that in the winter. We've already seen that. The winter window is not one that you get to reset like that. So,
yeah. We got a question here. how would sacking Vanney affect Ricky Puig? Would he want to leave or stay? I mean, Ricky has a very close relationship with Greg Vanney. You could see that, but I don't know. I'll let you answer this first.
It means nothing to me, if I'm being completely honest with you. And look, they have a great relationship. That's wonderful. Ricky Puig hasn't played in 2 years. He doesn't get to make that say so. He doesn't get to make that call anymore. And also the idea that Ricky Puig would go anywhere else, where is he going to go? He's playing in the biggest market in the league. He's paid very handsomely to be here. And there's no other team that is going to take a risk on a 2 ACL Ricky Puig the way that the LA Galaxy are currently planning to. That's just that's the simple facts of it. And I think Ricky Puig can come back and be great. There's also the chance that he comes back and he's a lemon, right? Like, we don't know until we see him. So his decision-making in this is no longer important. It just isn't. Like, it was last year because he could have came back, right? That was the whole plan. But it is no longer important because this season needs saving. And if Greg Vanney is still at the helm, I don't know if that's a viability anymore.
I'm with you as well on this. I mean, I think Ricky Puig, honestly, Ricky Puig is being like paid almost $6 million a year, if I'm not mistaken, $5 million a year. He's under contract for 2027. If he wanted to leave, I don't think there would be a single club in the world interested in picking up that salary on somebody who hasn't played since 2024, despite how good he can be. You're not taking that chance. That would be career suicide for whoever makes that decision at whatever club. It's just never going to happen. So it's not going to happen, but I would expect that. Yeah. I mean, you'll probably see an emo like Instagram post from him or something. You know,
that happens all the time. I saw it with Bruno Fernandes with Ruben Amorim. Like, okay, like, I don't care. And to put this into perspective, I think the LA Galaxy and Manchester United have a lot of similarities. It sucks that I have to watch them week over week because it's just been this constant like anger. Like someone said I was crashing out earlier. Like, put it into perspective. I've had to watch like the worst seasons of my team's histories like in the same season. So it's made it very difficult. But the similarity is the same. The sacking a coach. Like, people were scared of Amorim. Like, you have to build something. Well, like, you can also sack Amorim, try to salvage the season, and who knows? Even if you put in an interim, he can maybe show you he could be the manager of your club.
Yeah, I think I mean, interim-wise, I don't even know who that would be.
I'm assuming it's Juninho. Is it Juninho?
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
I have no idea.
They might even throw a guy like Donovan in the mix for like just.
Oh wow! Is that what they're soft launching here?
Maybe. I mean, shoot, I wouldn't put it past them. I've seen people say Donovan permanent coach shouts. I'll pump the brakes on that.
No.
Pump the brakes on that.
No.
Yeah, no.
We're good.
Thank you. That's like the people who say Steven Gerrard should take over like permanently at Liverpool.
You're pumping the nostalgia too much. Like, let's pull it back here just a little bit.
Yeah,
we can go get somebody else. It's okay.
Yeah, no, United and the Galaxy, as a Liverpool fan, have so much parallels.
It's the timelines don't stop. Like, it's the same. It's the same thing. History does tend to repeat itself. That's currently where we're at.
Yeah. No, so it's pretty much the same thing. But it's interesting. I think the Galaxy found themselves in a spot where April is going to be a litmus test to what the rest of the season is going to be. We could pretend like these results don't matter at the end of the season, but they do. And I have this feeling that Greg Vanney will not last to the World Cup. I think our first game is in El Tráfico after the World Cup. I would guess that Greg Vanney is not on the sideline for that El Tráfico. It's not going to happen. I would be very interested. I think we'll swing big. That's why I think Nancy is like a realistic option, is the fact that the Galaxy are a club that swing big, and I think they would want to go for the fences. That is a coach that makes a statement that, hey, we want to be back at that top level. And Ricky Puig can post an emo story or whatever. But at the end of the day, once he starts playing under Wilfried Nancy and the results, hopefully start to turn the other way, winning solves everything. He'll be fine.
Yep,
that's not even a thought. So yeah, like you said, there is a lot of legends and just all around good players who will end up having a breakout World Cup tournament, that could make a move to MLS, or just players generally who are making, using MLS as a launch pad to Europe, where the fact that we're even linked to Casemiro is probably saying that, hey, I don't think he's going to be on TAM. I don't think he's going to be on TAM, even if Miami sign him, maybe for the rest of this season. But in 2027, the way that Tom Bogert framed it is that, he would be a designated player in 2027, like almost like a Thomas Muller deal.
Yep.
What happened with Vancouver last year.
Pretty similar.
Yeah. So maybe they ride with the DP3 this year. But next year, I think somebody's gone. I think somebody is gone. Casemiro wouldn't be my signing, but if you want to make that kind of move where it's like, okay, we're going to sign a DP caliber player, we're going to bring in a new coach, we're going to sign a DP caliber player, and we're going to, Klaus won't be a DP next year. Okay, no, that's where the DP spot's coming from, is the fact that Klaus won't be a DP next year.
Well, Ricky ends up filling it back up, so you do.
Oh, right. Okay, so somebody still goes. Somebody still. It could be Ricky. People don't like to hear it.
I just don't see
a lot of money
because I just don't know who is going to pay. Like, to your point of like who's going to pay him, who's going to put in a transfer fee for him. How much do we still value him at? I think that it'd be kind of difficult to make that happen.
I know.
I think Painsel's contract is also up sometime in 2027. I could be wrong about that. I think it's like he's either after the short season sprint or before it. I think it's after. But I'd have to do research into it. I'm not entirely sure. I think that there's just I titled a couple videos this week like blowing it up. In my opinion, blowing it up in an MLS sense is removing your coach and your designated players. Like, even if it's one of them, that's blowing your roster up. It's a lot of money. Like, blowing one DP up is like almost scrapping an entire forward line in other leagues because of the way that the money works. One designated player is worth 3 or 4. So that's blowing up the roster. And this team, look, can anybody sit here and be like, whether that's in chat or just you or me, and be like, well, this team's good enough and they've proven to us that they've been good enough without Ricky Puig that we should keep anybody? No. We can't pencil in a starting 11, let alone say that any of these guys are worth their current valuations. Like, I don't know.
Paintsel, I'm in a similar position as Peck. Right? I fondly like Paintsel. I love him as a guy. I love Peck as a guy. They're both great human beings, but like it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, you recoup the transfer value on Joseph Paintsel, and it's like, okay, I think you do it. His contract expires in 2027. Hasn't been able to stay on the field consistently throughout the last years. Hamstring injuries nag him. It's gotten to a point where it's like, okay, this guy, how long will those legs last? And he's not old in particular, but it's like hamstring issue after hamstring issue after hamstring issue will affect your speed at a point. It'll happen. Or it'll just keep reoccurring over the next few years that he's an LA Galaxy player. So his end product isn't that good. Same with Peck. And I'm okay, honestly, if it's Peck or Paintsel, that's fine. Puig would be more complicated. That would have to be like a mutual termination to send him back to Spain or some crap that's probably just not going to happen. But I don't think Puig is back past 2027. I think this team going into 2028 looks, and that is a far, timeline away. So of course it's going to look different, but I think it's going to look so different. I think, honestly, going into like 2028, you could probably be looking at a new goalkeeper, a new left back. I would imagine Galesnes is, I don't even know. He probably still has some good footy left in him. He got the extension. I'll put him there. You probably need another center back at that point. Right back, you're going to need to do right back. Ricky, I think, would be gone. So that's another midfielder. Marco's legs are going to be dead. Sanabria, I don't know. Maybe he'll be that guy. Maybe he won't be. Same goes with Sarria. Will he be on that roster in 2028? If Casemiro is on this roster in 2028, then probably not Sarria. Paintsel, Peck, probably gone. And then Klaus, I think, will stay. But that's like a whole new roster.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
that we're just looking at like an off season and a half away from it happening. It's just like there's a lot of change afoot, and the sooner that the Galaxy do it, I honestly wouldn't mind. You want to make profit, but sometimes, you know, like if we would have sold Peck after MLS Cup, we would have made a huge profit, but that didn't logically make sense at the time. You could, once again, we could play this revisionism game and been like, oh, why didn't we sell Peck after MLS Cup? People would have lost their minds if we sold Peck after MLS Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have lost my mind if we'd done it, to be fair, especially knowing the Ricky news. Like it wasn't in the cards.
Yeah. Who are your 3 DPs now? Klaus, Peck, Paintsel. As you're a St. Louis fan. Your boy Klaus is one of the DPs, but he won't be next year. Ricky will fill that spot back up. And yeah, it's time. I think it is time to reset from an LA Galaxy perspective. The schedule is going to be brutal. We could dive into a couple more things here. Speaking of Paintsel, that is not just a Paintsel. This is Joseph Paintsel. Joseph Paintsel is getting reintegrated with the squad again. He is back in training. That does not mean that he'll be available tomorrow. He's not going to be available tomorrow. It's not going to happen.
I think the reporting said that he is aiming and targeting for the second leg. So I wouldn't expect to see him. If any game, he might come back for Austin as a very brief cameo, but I would expect him to play the second leg at Toluca at home.
Yeah. Okay. At least off the bench. In some capacity. I would expect that Joseph Paintsel will be back soon. It all depends on his recovery. We thought that he was going to be back after the last international break, and that didn't end up working out that way. So it's interesting. So Paintsel's back though. I look, he's not going to save this team. The team will be better like with Paintsel in instead of Sanabria at the wing. It's not fair to Sanabria that he has to play on the wing. Our best midfield 3, we'll say it over and over again, has been Sanabria, Winder, Sarria. They just work so fluidly. And Royce has been great. Is the funny thing about it all is that Royce has been great at times. He's shown that, class is permanent. But that midfield 3, Brandon asked a question in the chat. What do you guys think the best LA Galaxy MLS game has been so far this season? It's Charlotte for me.
Yeah, the only one we've won.
I mean, New York City looked good. But for me, it's Charlotte, and it's far and away Charlotte. We blew them out the water, and I think by the end of the year, they will be in a solid playoff seed. I still believe in that Charlotte team to at least make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, they have the quality on the roster, and we blew them out the water. Sometimes that happens in MLS. Like, I actually did like a game by game prediction until the World Cup break. And one of the games that I had us winning, just because it's MLS and weird stuff happens, is the Vancouver game at home. We seem to have a good track record against Vancouver at home. We beat them last year somehow, and they made MLS Cup. I mean, they're still a very good team. So if we lose that game, wouldn't be surprised. But at the same token, I don't know. Weird stuff happens in MLS. You get fluke results. And maybe Charlotte is that, but I think there is some things that you could take away from it and be like, wow, that midfield 3 worked very well in tandem. So I would consider that if I was Greg Vanney. But Joseph Paintsel being back into the squad. Look, I mean, I would almost have Harmer Miller at the wings. I know we're trying to protect him because he's young and you don't want to overplay him and all this blah blah blah. No, he's proven that he doesn't look out of place. He doesn't look out of place in the squad at all. When Paintsel comes back, he's obviously your starter because he's a DP. But Harmer Miller, he's looked good at times. You got to give your young guys a shot. They're hungry. He wants to make a move to Europe, I'm sure. And it could be a chance for him to break out in the squad where if Paintsel is back and healthy for the rest of the year, he probably won't. Harmer Miller won't get many more looks. But Paintsel being back in the team is good news. But another bit of news is that Nascimento's out indefinitely. They don't have a recovery timeline on him. I think he suffered an injury in training, and I mean that was a time he could really get injured. He doesn't play, and he's suffered an injury in training, and he is he's out. He might have played his last game for the LA Galaxy. I'd still expect that he probably makes a return in May. I think your camera disconnected.
No. I had to change my battery, so
Okay,
I have to use a different software. I'm hoping that it is back now.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, you're good. But Nascimento, it just didn't work out. We shouldn't have brought him back. The last season experiment's fine. But the fact that we brought him back this year was a joke and poor decision making on Wilkins' part. You spend that on a number 10. You get that. You get a U22 number 10 in the summer, undoubtedly, in my opinion. You have all the time, and we had all the time last year because we knew that we were going to have a U22 spot opening up when we signed Nascimento on loan, and we still didn't do proper scouting. I mean, I know they didn't expect Ricky was going to go out for another season, so they're like, we don't really need to bring in another 10. We have Royce as the backup. It's time. It's time now. There's no guarantee that Ricky Puig ever comes back the same level again. Maybe. Regardless, there's no way Puig can go 34 games next year.
Nope.
Going back-to-back ACL injury, you get a U22 number 10. It has to happen. Nascimento, once again, another good guy. Just didn't work out. His contract's expiring at the end of the year, end of 2026. So he'll probably land somewhere else, maybe even within MLS on a different team. Maybe somebody sees potential in him, but for a Galaxy, it's not going to happen. And then Galesnes is still a few weeks away, I believe, from making a return with the club. I'm excited to see him back. He makes that back line. He carries it.
He changed our lives for a few matches there, and then he disappeared like the Avatar.
Yeah. Gone too soon.
What I will say about this Paintsel news real quickly is if we were smart and Vanney was smart, he would make our game plans towards Paintsel. I think we saw that towards the back end of last year where we gave him the armband and we asked him to be bigger and better than he currently was playing, and he did step up to that challenge. The one player that I think has been too unselfish at points has been Paintsel for me. And I'm currently seeing and Vanney's even saying it, which is pretty funny, but Peck is being too selfish. And so if there's a player that can kind of create that balance again, where you're not just having to force feed Peck constantly, which has been a big issue for me, Paintsel at least gives you the balance to be like, okay, we're not going to Peck this game. Like if the ball goes to him, it's as a supplement piece. Like he's got his defender one-on-one in space. We're making it work on the counter, but the ball should be going through Paintsel in this one. And honestly, the Charlotte game, he was one of our best players because the ball was funneled to him in possession. And I just don't think we've had that. To your Miller point, like I like Miller. I think he's a really good prospect on the idea of him playing winger in a crunch. I do think that he's a better fullback just because his end product isn't great. And honestly, like there's nothing that Cuevas has done this season that has made me think that Miller should be not playing over him.
Yeah. Same with Yamane. With Yamane. Dude, I don't know. It's frustrating because for a team that hasn't really put results on the field since 2024, it feels like certain people are being held back from breaking into the first team. It's like, dude, let everyone free. Let everybody free and just let every role be up for the taking. It doesn't matter how much you're making. It doesn't matter if you're a DP or not. You need to play to the LA Galaxy standard, and the players who have the heart for it, the players who want to actually go out and have career ambitions for Europe, let them take the spots. There's no reason why Harbor Miller shouldn't be given a starting look at right back, even if it's for a game, even if it's for a little spell, 2-3 games. You don't get a better chance at playing them when you're in poor form, because when everything's flying and everything's working, like if this squad right now were in full tandem, we wouldn't even be talking about Harbor Miller starting at right back. But we're not. So why is this not even an option? Because Greg Vanney is stubborn. Once again, not trying to harp on Wilfred Nancy, because I think Jim Curtin would be another good guy for these young players. It would probably be more of a long-term rebuild with him. But I know damn well they would give him a chance. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
That some of these younger guys, some of these Ventura County guys would end up making a breakthrough into the first team And that is something that you want to see as a young player. That's something that incentivizes you to come to the LA Galaxy to play academy ball. LAFC have had a lot of academy players be poached from the LA Galaxy because they haven't had a real shot to break into the first team. They play some of those young academy players. I hate giving them credit, but they play some of their young academy players in matches. Like, they give them an opportunity, and we don't. Because why? What's a good reason not to give a guy like Harvard Miller a shout? Even okay. Look, this is going to be. I'm expecting the chat to explode. Look, we need to, and I understand where this is going to go on the nepotism thing. People are going to be like, "Oh, he's a nepo baby." Dylan Vanney needs a real shot in this team. Genuinely, I'm at that point where he has been incredible for Ventura County. He's been incredible for them. And if you watch Ventura County matches, you could even look at his highlights on YouTube. Like, take a look at this guy. He deserves a shot. Now, am I saying he needs to start 34 matches? No, he doesn't need to, but he needs an opportunity for the first team. These younger players need an opportunity for the first team from Ventura County because they deserve it. Pepe Magana, I butchered that name. I guarantee it. But another young center back for Ventura County. This center back position is up for the taking. I don't care. I don't care who it is. I want to see results. And it's not coming right now. And I think in that type of scenario, the only time, look at that Columbus Crew roster. Most of those names were not the one that won MLS Cup. They had their stars. They had their Cucho Hernandezes. They had their star players. But there were also players on that squad who had a role, even if it was off of the bench, who came up through the academy, who were younger prospects.
Yeah.
These Jim Curtin, that Philadelphia Union team is the prime example. The one that made MLS Cup. Prime example. These were like all academy kids. Kevin Sullivan, great wonder kid. Obviously, it goes without saying. He's being given a real look in the first team, and he's like 15 years old.
Yeah.
Why not? The fact that Mathis Albert didn't even get a chance with like Ventura County is crazy to me at a point, because it's like the pathway to the professional level for the LA Galaxy, in my opinion, I understand we're a team that spends big. We're going to have guys that, take up a lot of allocation money. Like, Miki Amane is making almost $1 million. Cuevas is another good young prospect, but none of them are too good to not be dropped from the squad. And I don't know. Red Bull's young kids, this is another great example. They're cooking.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, you're a Liverpool fan. Who is the one player so far through the back end
Rio
that's made you feel good? Yeah.
Rio.
Look, I'm a United fan. The one guy that makes me feel good on a week-to-week basis is Kobe Manu.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't rocket science sometimes. And the one thing that the youth allows you to do is it gives you this really long leash of, like, if they perform bad, nobody's gonna be like, oh, well, he's shit because he's 16 or 17 or 18. They're gonna be like, oh, well, you know what? He gave a good effort tonight. Yeah. And you're always gonna get work rate. You're always gonna get intensity. You're always gonna get effort, because those guys are fighting for their chance to potentially be on an MLS roster. So to your point, like, has anyone proven that it's their spot? No. And right now, one of the things that's really bugging me is effort. Cuevas, that's an effort play. Garces, that's an effort play sometimes. And we're not winning those battles. So why isn't a guy like Miller playing?
Why is Lepley not playing?
Lepley has been going off in the chat. He is the biggest case of what if I've ever seen with this club, because I think he's got all the talent in the world. I really like him. He's a hometown kid, and he cannot get a sniff under Greg Vanney, and it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, because in a game like this where you're going to play narrow, Lepley sounds like a great option off the left, doesn't he? No, we're not going to do that. Okay. Well, Royce has been playing excellent, and you know what? Maybe we should give him a break here I guess we've been chasing in too many games for it to matter, but we should give him a break, save his legs. Maybe he can give us some more minutes in CONCACAF. Nope.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Once again, this take at the bottom of the chat. No, I mean, you're right. the moment Dylan Vanney, and I feel bad to an extent, because it's like the moment Dylan Vanney steps on the field, people are gonna be like, oh, it's because nepotism. No. Watch this guy play. It is not nepotism. He is probably the best product from the Ventura County Academy right now. He is.
The potential for this to make a lot of sense for the Galaxy and Greg Vanney as a dad and as a coach is for him to potentially step away in mutual agreement.
Yeah.
Because this argument goes away the minute Greg Vanney goes away.
Yep.
Because I think the minute it could be a mutual agreement between the two that those kids are going to stay at Ventura and they're going to develop with the Galaxy and eventually will make their way up, and Greg Vanney will go and do his thing. They're at that age now where you can have that conversation as a father and son. And look, we see it all the time with Bronny, with the Lakers. That will never go away. And so I think there's a real opportunity here that Greg Vanney goes away and Dylan Vanney finally gets the minutes that he probably deserves to get a shot at here, whether it's cameos or he potentially takes the spot. Like, the kid's got real talent, and the fact that he's being hindered because of this nepotism thing is a little diluted. If he's good enough, he's good enough. Talent doesn't have an age, and it doesn't have a last name. It just is. So, yeah, ridiculous. Kid should play.
I mean,
he's good enough. He plays. That should be everybody.
It's crazy. I don't think Dylan Vanney will make his debut under Greg. I think you're right.
How shitty is that, by the way? That should be the coolest experience that Greg Vanney should have as a head coach, is like the ability to bring on his son in a match. Like for United this season, like Fletcher got to bring on his two boys in matches, which was like really cool. And personally, I don't like the nepotism thing because I think the storyline is really fucking cool. Like if I was a father and I had the ability to bring on my son, I'd do it in a heartbeat. And so, and look, maybe people don't like it from the daddy ball aspect of things, and that's been a thing growing up too. But these guys are way more talented. It's not like there's one F1 racer that I think everyone is like known for the nepotism thing because his dad owns the team. Weird tangent there, but these guys are clearly good enough to play. Berhalter's a great example. Wolf is a great example. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's stop with it's BS. We're just Sorry, that was a weird tangent.
Sebastian Berhalter might be the best midfielder in MLS right now.
Yeah.
And he is Craig Berhalter's son.
Yeah.
Same with Owen Wolf. He's a great prospect. And, yeah, I mean, we'll see. But it is disappointing that he's not probably going to have the chance. It'll probably be like Wilfred Nancy or Jim Curtin or someone like that who brings on Vanney's son, which is so weird. And he'll get a lot of criticism. I mean, even Zavaleta, who was making league minimum, to be a fourth choice center back, fifth choice center back at times. And honestly, when he was on the field, people can hate, and I'll get flack for this. It's fine. He wasn't that bad for his role as like a fourth, fifth choice center back. He was not that bad. I feel like people want to overblow it and say that he's the worst center back you've ever watched. No, he's making league minimum. Like, this is almost, he hits the salary cap the same way as a guy like, I'll go back. He's been mentioned on this podcast a few times today. Asenge, the same way that he hit the salary cap. This random Ventura County guy. It's league minimum. It doesn't hit the cap, and still people will find a way to complain. It's just like, Zavaleta would have been on a roster if Greg Vanney did not bring him to the LA Galaxy. He would have still been on an MLS roster. I undoubtedly believe that. Probably as a fifth choice center back, fine, but he was fine. And people will yell nepotism, but it's like Dylan Vanney definitely deserves a shot in the main team. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how that all plays out. But yeah, we'll move on. We have a game to preview. LA Galaxy, of course, head to Mexico. They are in Mexico right now to play Toluca tomorrow. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. I believe it is, and the return home leg is at like 6:30 or something like that. Not a fan of those kickoff time. I like the 8 p.m. I don't like the 6:30 p.m.
No.
Traffic in LA is going to be so bad. I wouldn't be surprised that attendance is bad. There will be a lot of Toluca fans in LA, obviously, but tomorrow's in Mexico. what is there to say? What is there to say? It's one of the best teams in Mexico. Back to back. I believe it was back to back champions of Liga MX.
Yeah.
Beat us in the Campeones Cup finals, a close match. We ended up bottling that 2-1 lead at the end. I'm sure every LA Galaxy fan tried to block that out of their memory.
I did.
Yeah.
Until right
now. So we have, we played them last year, and a lot of people will point to that and be like, we took them last year to the brink, and it's like, this roster on paper is better than last year, blah blah blah. This is not going to end well over two legs. Toluca talent wise are infinitely better than the LA Galaxy. They dropped 5 on San Diego in Mexico. Yeah. Our back line without Gillespie against Toluca in Mexico, I think, will be torn to shreds. This is tough, man. This is tough. Peck is leading scorer in CONCACAF right now. He's been going against non-opponents. This is his first real opponent. So we'll see if you can continue that CONCACAF momentum. I have my doubts. Toluca, we talked about it earlier. They spam long shots, and they're very good at it. I mean, that's how they scored on us in the Campeones Cup final. Set pieces, long shots. They're such a good all-around team. I don't know, man. I don't have a good feeling about this. My predicted lineup for this match, I say they ride with JT and net. Left back, I'm going to say John Nelson. Center backs, I would expect Miro Garces, probably Justin Hack. They'll ride with it again. I don't see Yoshida starting against Toluca, but it wouldn't surprise me if he probably dropped Garces. You could see Hack and Yoshida, but I would expect Garces and Hack. That's just going to have to work out. And I think Miki Amane will be the right back. Midfield wise, I think you will see Winder, Sanabria, Cerrillo, and then left wing, I think you will see. Do we get Harbor Miller in this match? I don't know if Greg Vanney will do it. I think you see Eric Tommy. I think you could see Eric Tommy in this match. Klaus up top and Peck at the wing. Maybe he goes with some experience. We haven't seen much out of Eric Tommy to suggest that he is, a competent winger at that position for the Galaxy. We expected him to be like the Fagundes replacement. Hasn't really lived up to that so far. That's my lineup. Do you have anything different?
No, I think that is what it's going to end up looking like. I'd prefer us to play 5-back and go with the 3 available center backs. Hack, Yoshida, Garces, Yamane, Nelson. And then I'd go Cerrillo, Sanabria in the midfield. And then ahead of them in my heart of hearts, I'm going Peck, Klaus, Royce. And just asking those guys to essentially do everything for us on the counter. But I also could see a world where that Royce spot is Miller, right? I would be as defensive as possible, looking to win, or not looking to win, but looking to get a draw. I'm going to, my prediction for this match is a 2-2, because I'll never predict us to lose. But if we could be solid defensively and then hit on the counter, I think there's only one way to do that. And Haram Ball and pray is a good comment there. I do also want to say, Raul, he put it there, safe travels to ACB members that are going. That's going to be a great environment and a fantastic trip, I bet. So yeah, stay safe. And if anything, I could always expect them to be the star for the Galaxy at any away leg. I was there for the Portland match, and they were fantastic. And I fully expect them to be just as fantastic against probably what's going to be a very hostile environment. So safe travels to them, and be safe at the game and all that stuff.
Yeah. You have goal scorers in your 2-2 prediction?
Should I just? I think because Peck has scored, I should just go with Peck.
Yeah. Safe.
Yeah. Right. So especially because after my 5 things, after I've just trashed him in every single one,
right.
That's usually how that works. So no, if we do score 2 goals, it'll be Klaus, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the only. I watched San Diego put up a really good fight against them with 10 men at home, but then they got the wheels beat off them in Toluca. So I think it's a survive game, and hopefully it's a hope and pray. So yeah, let's go with Klaus.
Man. Okay. So I think the Galaxy will try to play, as you said, very, very, very defensively in this match. A draw, 2 away goals, a 2-2 draw would be, in my opinion, the best case scenario from this match. I don't think we're getting a win at Toluca. But if you could get 2 away goals and go back to LA in a case where a 0-0 or 1-1 draw puts you through, I can't name a better, that's fine. That's completely fine with me. I don't think that's going to happen, however.
I don't either.
I think we'll try to play defensively, but I think Toluca will probably get a goal just because the sheer quality they have. I mean, we could drop back, we could sit back, try to play defensive. We did it in Campeones Cup final. They're going to eventually rip a long shot, and I think it'll probably come very early in this match. I think they'll probably score within the first 15 minutes. The Galaxy are going to have to take more chances, try to get an away goal, knowing how important that is. I think we lose 4-1. I don't like predicting losses, but
no, look, that's realistic. The betting line on this one has Toluca at a minus 300 or 310 favorite. That's how badly they think we're going to get smacked up.
This could get really ugly. And I know I said I think Vanney will be sacked after May 23rd, probably going into the World Cup break, but coming off a predicted 4-1 loss.
Does he get sacked after a 4-1?
I don't know. Do
you think they have the cojones to do it after?
I don't think so. I don't think this front office would do it.
You're probably right there.
They didn't sack him after 7-0 against the Red Bulls. It was early in the season, whatnot. There's been some big losses last year where I thought that could have been it, and it wasn't. So 4-1 is my prediction. Goal scorer, I'll stick with Peck. I think he'll get his 7th goal of the competition. It's safe. We'll go boring. Oh, man, it's such a difficult task to go to Mexico and win.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you lose 4-1 first leg, it's like, just throw out your bench player's second leg at home. It's not going to happen.
Focus on Dallas.
Yeah, focus on your MLS games there. We're going to have to chase this match very early on, I think, and that's going to open up the Galaxy. This team can't chase. The longer this is a draw, the better. The more it plays into our favor. If we could be 0-0 going into halftime, I would be loving life. Because, you just frustrate them. Even if you lose this game 2-1, I'm okay with it. The issue would be a 4-1, which is what I'm going to predict. They're just talent-wise significantly better. They dropped 5 on San Diego, one of the best teams in Liga MX. The Galaxy are in terrible form right now. They don't have Gillespie holding that back line down. Garces hasn't been good since 2024. Hack has been questionable at times this season. The fullbacks, we're just gonna have to pray. Goalkeeper situation, they're both mid, in my opinion. So it's just like, I would be happy with anything less than 4-1, honestly. It's just realistically, I think we're gonna get battered. But
that's all right.
Hope not. We'll have a live watch along. We will have a live watch along probably by the way, make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching right now. Appreciate you guys supporting in the chat. It's been very lively tonight. I think Tab will start at 8. I'll probably be there around 8:10. I have referee training.
Nice.
So yeah. So I'll be there around 8:10 probably when the match kicks off. And then we got Austin. We got an early kickoff game. I think it's 11:45 a.m. MLS match right after this. Man, this is going to be rough.
It is. There is not a whole lot of optimism to go around here, unfortunately.
3rd game in a week. I think they're going to go all out for Toluca. I wouldn't be surprised if we throw some bench players against Austin on the road and just pray that we could get a draw from it. Come out with something from that match. We don't do well in Texas. We don't do well in early kickoffs, and we don't do well against Austin. Even that 2024 team lost to Austin on the road.
Yep. I remember that was that weird game where it was like it stormed. They started at like 11,
Yeah.
right? Like it was a weird one.
I
feel like
think
it
that
was
was
a weird.
2023.
Oh gosh, wow.
I
That's
think
how
we got a
bad this
draw. That
team
was
is.
like a
Like,
Michael Barrios header, I believe.
oh, whoa. That's how hard this team has been to watch as I'm
Yeah.
starting to blend gears here today. Ugh, yikes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but imagine Ramirez scores on us. Wouldn't put it
I
past
don't
him.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
gonna
honestly, if he celebrates, I don't blame him. We waved him. It's gonna be one of those things where it's like, yep, fair. Have your revenge game. Everybody does against the
everybody
Galaxy.
does it.
Austin aren't particularly too good. I mean,
okay, I've said I said this in my 5 things is I've said that about every team we've played to start the season, and then we shit our pants.
Yeah.
And so I can't say that anymore because maybe they are a poor side, and I think they're poor, but we're worse.
They played a few games on the road. They played very difficult opponents. They drew LAFC 0-0 at home. They drew Miami 2-2 away. They looked good in that match. Galaxy, once again, they've had a whole week to prepare for the Galaxy, and the Galaxy are going to have like 2 days of training worth to prepare for Austin. So, it's one of those things where it's like everything's stacked up against the Galaxy. Maybe that, maybe 2 negatives make a positive. Predicted lineup for this match. Once again, JT in net. I think he's just the starter right now. I'm gonna go Ade left back. I think they'll put Yoshida in. I think it'll be my Yoshida, Justin Hack. I think you're gonna see Cuevas back at right back. You're gonna see Royce in the midfield alongside Edwin Cerrillo and Elijah Winder. I think this can be a weird one where Sanabria just goes to the bench for some reason, unless they play him left wing. And then I'm gonna have I say they give Herbert Miller a start against Austin on the road, get the fans a little excited, and they're just gonna throw him to the wolves because we were never gonna win this match to begin with. I think Klaus will be up top. We don't have any other option. Nasty Nas is out. For a while. So Peck on the wing, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
we
if
we don't have a spot for
to replace him. All right. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything different in that?
Nope. I think you got it. I think we know what we're getting out of this one. Sanabria is going to get dropped. We're going to be like, why was he dropped? We're going to lose. And then we'll be like, well, okay.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have dropped Sanabria. I mean,
and every day we move closer and closer to the inevitable stacking. That's pretty much what it is. That's where we're at. That's what it feels like, at least.
Yeah, I'm going with the 2-0 loss. I'm going with the 2-0 loss in this match. I don't think we'll get a goal away at Austin. It'll probably be like 0-0 at halftime or something. They'll score. It'll be like a Ramirez header off of a corner or something. In the second half, Galaxy go down 1-0, and they probably hit a dagger in the 80th minute or beyond. We lose 2-0. And yeah, I think that is that. No goal scoring predictions for the Galaxy. So your prediction?
I think the Vanney gets sacked after your 4-1, and then we get new manager bounce with whoever the interim is, and we win 3-1. And Royce has a really good game again.
All right. I would love to see that. I mean, yeah, if Vanney is sacked, it completely shifts my prediction.
Yeah. Then you automatically go for a win because the new manager bounce it comes for everyone. And
it's
Austin
inevitable.
Just has to accept it. They just have to accept it.
And, I know Tottenham are praying for a new manager bounce right now, but
God, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say that if Greg Vanney is sacked after Toluca, which I don't think he will, but if he is, then yeah, we'll probably win 2-1. I think we'll get a scrappy 2-1 win in Austin. I think it'll be like Klaus and Peck, just man, we'll have to see how it all plays out. So 2-0 in Austin. I had 4-1 against Toluca. Do you have like an individual? Oh yeah, you said 3-1, yeah.
Yeah, 3-1, and then it's Royce.
If Vanney is still the coach, though, what's your prediction?
I'd like to see us get a draw. Like I said, I don't predict losses. I won't do it. 1-1 draw with Klaus. I'm going to go Klaus back-to-back man of the matches. If Vanney's still on the jump.
Yeah. Percentage chance.
5.
5. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm leaning towards 5 as well. No, I think that's about right.
15 is way too high, man.
Yeah, over 2 legs, probably 5.
If you think the Galaxy have a 15% chance, you might as well put $100 on them to win outright. And because right now you can win $700 if you that's you'd be paid handsomely for that level of optimism.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. And sports books don't see it either.
No.
The Galaxy will not get past Toluca, 5% chance. And if we do, looks like we'll play LAFC if we somehow, some way.
Vamos.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
They can't beat us at our lowest. It doesn't matter. So we'll have a puncher's chance. It's a derby.
We'll get like 2 draws. We'll get
hell yeah. We'll go into the next round on away goals.
Yeah. I'm avoiding all PSG Liverpool predictions right now. I see them in the chat, guys.
For your sake, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
Okay. If I had to predict, I think tomorrow PSG win 3-1. And then I think Slot.
You think he gets sacked?
Sacked.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's in the realms.
I think we probably go down 3-0 and grab like a late away goal. I'm gonna get a weird scoring prediction that, like, I don't know, Kirkez gets some weird goal or something. So yeah, and then the one at Anfield, I think new manager will. I don't know. I think the new manager bounce will be used in the Premier League, and it's just PSG. So I think we'll lose 2-0 at Anfield.
Yeah, if you're chasing 2 goals against PSG, you're that you saw Chelsea do it. It's not a place you want to be.
So 5-1 on aggregate is my prediction for that. Man, I'm on life support right now, but
fair enough.
You're a United fan, so
hey, you get it. Hey, my teams, we're on the up and up. I only have to watch them I only have to watch them once a month. It's pretty exhilarating. I get to watch them once a month.
That is true. Any prayers for Frimpong? Yeah, no, I love Frimpong.
Isn't he injured? So is Joe Gomez? Isn't it Gomez? Oh, he's back. Oh God, he shouldn't play. He shouldn't play.
For his sake, I love him. One of my favorite players in Liverpool. Just sit it out. It's okay. It's okay.
Just sit it out. Wait for Xabi Alonso to come in. Play
right wing back. Save him. Oh my God! Don't even get me salivating. We're a Galaxy podcast. All right. The LA Galaxy, we stink, man. All right,
I think that's a good place right there.
That's the clip note for the podcast. LA Galaxy stink, and April isn't going to be a kind month to us. So we'll see if managerial changes happen, whether it's the Reds or the Galaxy. We'll have to watch that one play out, but we will have a live watch along tomorrow at 8 p.m. I know Tab will be on it. I will be on it. Dylan, you are as well invited to it if you'd like to be on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. And then final one for Dylan. Should United sign?
I don't know if this is a me thing or if it may be a me thing.
I cut out.
You cut out. Okay. I don't know yet is my answer. I think that if it's not Nagelsmann, then I think you sign Carrick permanently. But I think if Nagelsmann is available, you sign Nagelsmann.
That's fair. He's done a good job. Carrick's
he's just the best available coach. This pool that became very big for top clubs immediately went away when like Tuchel resigned, Ancelotti resigned. I think that Xavi's going to you guys. There's just not a whole lot of guys within the market, and there's been like there's been some other links, and I'm just like, it's not going to happen. Like, you either get Nagelsmann because he's the best available, or you go with Carrick. Call it a day.
All right, yeah. I mean, I'll have to see that one play out, but yeah, he's got you guys probably playing Champions League football, which is crazy.
Hard to say he doesn't deserve it to a certain extent.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, thank you guys. We will have the live watch along tomorrow, 8 p.m. Make sure to tune in for that one. I appreciate your support. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're here. Dylan, where can people find you at?
Yeah, COC Network. Me and the boys are actually heading to England, the Clash of Clubs. That's where we talk about the Prem. So we're heading to England on Friday, and we will be the content might be a little sparingly going into next week, but Andrew and Dari are going to take over for Clash of Cosmos. And depending on the timing of games, I think the Austin one actually makes it possible for me to get some like 5 things videos out. So we'll see. I'll have some content pouring through hopefully next week to get you guys through at least our channel. But we've really appreciated like being a part of your guys' crew and all the community-based stuff, whether that be like a guy like Raul and the chat here. Like, you guys are amazing, and you guys are what make doing this a lot of fun. So we appreciate you guys having us on as always and letting us be involved in the chat and stuff. It's a great time.
Of course, man. Likewise. Thank you very much for joining us on the podcast. I had to solo this tonight. I appreciate your takes. The moment I saw that reel, I was like, dude, we need to link up for this.
We need to brainstorm this.
Yeah, we need to think this one out. So no, it's been great. It's been great brainstorming with you tonight. To better days for the LA Galaxy. You know, anytime you're welcome on. You're welcome on tomorrow if that works for you. But yeah, Clash of Cosmos. Make sure to check out his content. He does great work over there. And Andrew, mainstays on the podcast. Always welcome on anytime. As for myself, I am at Peyton_shot_it. I shoot photography for Galaxians and Angel City FC. You can find my work on Instagram. And did I cut out? No, okay.
No, you're good.
And then at Anfield Headlines_ on Instagram. If you are a Liverpool supporter, which is not very many Galaxy fans, it's mostly United. So you know, I'll quietly say that one. But thank you guys for tuning in. Like and subscribe, share with your friends. Appreciate you, Dylan, for being on, and thank you, chatters, for keeping this lively tonight. Thank you guys, and to better days for the LA Galaxy. We'll have a watch along tomorrow. Peace, guys.